Hey everybody, this is Perch, and big news out of DC. Finally, they have fixed their continuity. After many crises, many reboots, many changes, they've stumbled across the answer to it all. And the who better to talk about this than the absolute master of DC continuity, Joe Corallo. How are you?
I'm all right, Perch. How are you?
Well, I'm great now. I mean, everything is fixed.
Hey, what did they fix? What did they announce something or?
They did, yeah, actually. So this has been, I mean, clearly a plan that has been in the works for a long time because the level of our meticulous planning that had to go into this. We had, first off, okay, we had death metal, which I know you read.
Yeah.
And death metal established the new Omniverse, and the Omniverse is that everything matters all simultaneously at once.
Yes, including punching people with planets and
yes,
and all that. Yeah, that was very serious and not hilarious to read at all.
Right, exactly. Everything counts. Everything matters. But there was still one little hiccup, and we both read the different crisis events. We've gone through all this, and the problem with crisis always is they clean things up, but they don't address the elephant in the room. And that's, how does Batman exist in the 30s and then simultaneously in 2020, seemingly not aged at all? I mean, that's always bothered me. How about you?
Yeah, that's why I've never been able to watch a James Bond movie with a straight face, because it doesn't make any sense. How can James Bond be, Sean Connery and Roger Moore and George Lazenby and Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan and Daniel Craig? Like, how can that be? It's farcical, and I can't watch them.
Absolutely. There's no way you could pay attention to any of those movies because you're always thinking, wait, it's Sean Connery, it's Tim Dalton, but that's not the same guy. But then it has to be the same guy because they've got the same name. So
yeah, it makes no sense. How's the car so advanced, like in the 60s, and it's like, and now the car Daniel Craig has now, they don't even act really all that similar. It's I don't even know why they try.
Yeah, it's very confusing, and DC has had that problem as well, but now they fixed it. So the Omniverse, everything counts, everything matters, all simultaneously, it all is there. Nothing is out of continuity because everything is continuity. It's the Omniverse, but the aging has been solved this week in Generations Forged. We reveal from the Wave Rider, who, by the way, has to be the coolest character in all of DC, right?
Yeah. Wave Rider, sure. Exactly. Wave Rider, yeah. No, everyone. I think everyone had their Wave Rider posters in their room when they were a kid, and they just love that character. As you were on the playground talking about nitty gritty continuity issues with all your friends, and not about the fun, engaging action stories and drama that entertain most people instead.
I mean, if there's one thing that Marvel has always been better at, is that their continuity makes absolute complete sense, and DC has always been a mess. That's why all the crises.
Absolutely. No, Marvel makes perfect sense. They've got a great 10-minute continuity system. If it happened any more than 10 minutes ago, who cares?
Exactly. It works. So to solve this aging problem, we have revealed what they're calling, are you ready? The Linearverse.
What?
Yeah, the Linearverse. So the Linearverse basically says that the Batman in 1939 is the same Batman from 2020. It's actually the same guy, same character. But the reason he's not looking older is because in the Linearverse, people age very slowly.
What?
Exactly. So basically, it's not just Batman. Commissioner Gordon also ages slowly. The kids age slowly. The villains, everybody just ages really, really slowly. And that's why you have Batman in old fashions in the 40s And then like gritty 2020 fashions, it's because he's just aging very slowly.
So is that like everyone? Like if it's also Gordon, is that like, so it's like everybody?
Everybody.
So
like,
everyone.
Even Lois.
So the population of the Earth is completely unbearable at this point, with probably tens of billions of people all existing, since no one really dies sooner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, Hal Jordan like wipes out, or that cyborg Superman wipes out Coast City. So that's how you keep your population under control. You just you dump up. I mean, planets smack into other planets. So it's you know. But yeah, Lois has had the same job for 80 years.
So does that mean like I mean, they've done nothing short of 80 interpretations of Superman's origin. So how is Superman? He's really old, but he's not. Right. And then he came from Krypton for so many different reasons at this point. So which is the reason in the linear verse that
all of them at once?
So he came to Krypton, or he came from Krypton because the planet was going to blow up, and then also it was General Zod was doing things and trying to overthrow the government there, and then also Brainiac was responsible, and all the. So that all happens at once.
Yes. All at the same time.
In 1938.
Right. That's right.
And then his parents, the Kryptonians survived, and then they didn't. And then some survived again. And then there were some colonies in space that survived, and then there weren't, and then there was a Supergirl that was his cousin, and then there wasn't, and then there was again.
He also, because they shot him off from Krypton as a baby, in theory he exited the Linearverse in order to age up somehow on the Kent farm. I mean, there are some bubbles here where people do get older, and that happens out of the Linearverse, or maybe just when the characters want to.
So the Linearverse started after a lot of people were already old, or is Perry White like 500 years old?
He's 500 years old. Yeah. Yeah, they all are. In theory, I mean, age really isn't a concept. I mean, so, Jurgens was very clear. It's not the cleanest fit, but it's fine.
But what if they didn't say anything at all?
Well, they cannot just say anything. That would be like if you expect people to just pick up the comics and like read them and then just enjoy the story and not worry too much where they fit in current modern continuity or timeline? That's crazy talk.
So Dick Grayson aged enough to be a young teenager to go to college and then come back from college and then take over as Nightwing and become like a 20-something. So he ages like 10 years, but Batman doesn't age more than like a couple.
2, maybe? Yeah. It may have something to do with puberty.
what's the point of doing all that work to make up something about Amazons being like immortal if age doesn't matter? If you went out of your way to create the immortal Wonder Woman and do this whole cinematic universe where the linchpin to it is Wonder Woman was first because she's kind of immortal or ages extremely slowly, and then you also do that retcon in your comics really not long ago at all, and then you make all of it really immediately pointless.
Yeah. It's exciting. Yeah.
So,
you know, if it helps any, it's one potential place in the Omniverse where stories and adventures can happen, but maybe not all of them, but maybe some of them, or all of them are not. But at the same time, everything matters.
But they already said everything matters.
Yes.
Does everything matter more in the Linearverse?
It matters slower because people are aging slower. So it matters the most slower.
So then does that mean all these other verses and other are there like other Earths in the Linearverse? Is there like an Earth 2 or 3? Is like the crime syndicate running around in a Linearverse Earth 3? Is
yes, but I think for Earth 3, it's like, you know how in the VCR when you would hit fast forward and it was like 2x and it would be a little faster and 3x be even faster. I suspect Earth 3 is like 3x faster, which is still super slow, but that would make sense to me. I mean, look on the bright side. I mean, the thing that I immediately took away from this entire thing is one of the hiccups with City of Bruce was, how does Bruce possibly have time to impregnate all those women in Gotham? Answered right here, Linearverse.
They really teed us up for this, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I knew you had some insiders, Perch, but I didn't think you could pull this off.
That's right.
This is crazy cool news, because just when I was starting to think of other ridiculous moronic loopholes, like how continuity issues, like like Deathstroke's kids, were they born in like the 1800s? Like what's going on? But I guess Jonathan Kent makes no sense, like remotely at all. Oh yeah, but and now, here's the thing though. Here's something I guess is a positive, that like all that Bendis backlash over aging up Jonathan Kent. Now we know that was literally the only way Jonathan Kent was ever going to age a single day.
Yeah.
Was to have someone come and manipulate him to age, or else that was going to be it. So this kind of gives some cover to Bendis. I think there's going to be a lot of apologies now.
People owe Bendis a big apology. That's clear. I mean, it is, they owe him a big apology for sure. I mean, so the other piece of this, the other piece, I mean, this is clearly the coolest concept in all of comics. And it is something that will finally solve those schoolyard arguments about where exactly in continuity this all fit in. But at the conclusion, spoilers, kids, of Generations Forged, Wave Rider actually, they finally said, okay, the crises, we're all done with that now. We're finished. We have the Omniverse. Everything matters. The Linearverse will now be the playground for some stories that can be told. And in the final pages, Wave Rider gives 1939 Batman a time travel device and tells him it's used only in a last resort of a crisis. and then it's left on a cliffhanger saying the beginning. So I think we're getting another crisis out of this, which, I mean, what could be better than ending all the crises and having another crisis?
That happened?
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like a fan fiction or...
Well, clearly the people writing this are not fans, so no.
Didn't want to offer Bruce the time machine to, like, save his parents, or
no.
prevent World War II, or...
No. Only a true crisis. Not silly stuff like that.
Why would you give a man who has a lot of reason and obsession to use a time machine to go back and stop an event like the death of his parents? Why would you give him a time machine? You know, that's the kind of thing you give to, like, Superman, who has a sort of moral code where you would trust that if you actually gave Superman a time machine and told him you can only use it in a crisis, you can believe that, because that's like his character. And these characters, that they're different. They're not just, you can't just swap the different characters and just do whatever you want. You build these characters up, and they do different things. And, like, you could give it to Superman.
Sure.
And, like, that, why wouldn't you do that?
Well, that's about all the time we have. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this. Think of all the cool moments that now matter, that now are not only in continuity, but it all existed at the same time. I don't know. This is DC.
So there's still the machine in this world where Lois Lane can be a black woman for a day.